Alright, so no introduction or introduction there, but still, if you want to, like, share, subscribe, and follow my social medias, all the other stuff, yada yada. Links to the description, hashtag, all the good stuff. Description. Anyways, I know it's like, this one was like 4 or 5 days ago. This one more recent. The other one was like 3.5 weeks. I know it's a new whale, but it was a dude named Evasions. Never heard of him. I only heard about him last year until like, actually no, I have heard about him. I heard about him last year, and before I get going, I know I'm not trying to content steal. I'm trying to make other VTubers look like crap, because I know she does leave the links to the videos in the description box download to their original content, such as the virtual VTuber acting that way. I'm not trying to get parasocial relationship with you guys, but I kind of am at this point. And I'm putting my foot in my own mouth, but whatever. I usually don't get in my medical terms and conditions, but there are any doctors or nurses, especially mainly especially like dermatologists and like nutritionists. I gotta be careful I do this, because I think I only saw my real life IRL eyes like twice ever, but one of them my private, and the other one I think it was on my backup channel, so maybe you have, maybe you haven't. Unless you're brand new here, if you want to come subscribe. I'll leave the link to the duration point, but I don't know what it is. I gotta be very extra cautious I show this, but one of my eyeballs things on the top up here, you'll see the difference. Be careful I show this. Like right here, compared to this one, any dermatologist people know this one's normal right here. I mean, obviously my eyebrows have always been fucked up like that, but this one here is so freaky, man. So if any dermatologists are, it's ew, disgusting. It's disgusting, nasty. It's not pink eye. I swear to God, it ain't pink eye. Because I know what pink eye is. But anyways, yeah. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Oh, one more other thing. I just want to talk to you guys real quick about this crazy ass situation that's happening. I didn't hear about any of this news until just recently. So give me a quick second. Actually, I totally freaking lied. My bad. But Yakuza Like a Dragon. It's an official freaking Sega live action movie, but it's going to be on Amazon Prime. It sucks. I wanted to watch it, but like I watched it on my own time, so unfortunately no reaction to it. But it looks just because bomb is freaking hell. It reminds me of the Raid and Raid 2 Burning Down. Not because they're all Indonesian or Singaporean Asians, but they're the other ones, the big three popular ones like Korean, Japanese, Chinese, whatever. Anyways, let's get on to the real thing. Hold on one sec. Okay, so I talked about this girl once before, Smug Alana, but it's not about her. It's about Adult Swim. Deep Dive Adult Swim. And this shit should be really awesome, because I grew up Adult Swim. At least there's a few things I know that I watched that Gen Z watched. Like the Nickelodeon stuff, all the SpongeBob stuff, Fairly Odd Parents. At least we got commonalities with that, the younger generation Gen Z with that. And some of the stuff like Adult Swim and Cartoon Network and old school Disney and hell. Probably classic VH1, who knows? So there's a few commonalities I see with the generation when my little brothers and little sisters, because a lot of them are like 8 to 12, 15 years younger than I am. And the millennials, in my perspective, a lot of them are like between 33, 34, maybe at the latest 45, 48. Barely hitting almost 50. And I think the one that's Gen Xer and the Boomer one, which is my own IRL parents. I know she blabbers on and on. I'll leave the link to when I actually get to the reaction, but I know my old man, he's in the Boomer generation. My mom's side, she's in Gen Xer's one, because she's like 58 or 57. Anyways, 3, 2, 1, let's go. This should be a bomb ass one. It'll be funny. I know she likes to blabber on it. I know I'm guilty of it too. I just want her to get to the point when she finally does her reaction. It's almost like reaction inception. So let's go. I put it on 0.2 speed, and then I'll get to a normal speed, like 1.25.
Ooh, Chad, have you seen Adult Swim? Did you watch Adult Swim when you were a kid? I was only allowed to watch it when my mother was watching. Alana, how did you know we like honkers? I don't know, just lucky guess, I guess.
Sorry, I got a block.
Yeah.
Sorry, people.
We don't have that here? You probably had your own version, did you not? If you lived outside of America. Bada bing, bada boom. 3, 2, 1, boom.
Ooh. I'm sorry, I'm looking a little scrafty too. I apologize. Oh, there she goes. Now she's getting it.
Only a few constants in the human experience. We all die, we all poop, and we all got scared shitless as a child because we left the TV on Cartoon Network a little bit too long, and at 10 p.m., that weird guy from Robot Chicken got on the screen, and it was terrifying. Why was he so scary? Adult Swim. Love it or hate it.
Because
the dude from Robot Chicken, bro. What? I remember the theme. And the dude that was in that old school movie, Never Been Kissed, or I think another teen movie, Seth Green, he was the one that created all that shit. It's like I did American Dad. It's wild.
it was unsettling, man. It's the same reason why I was was scared of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Return the slab. Childhood trauma. Yep.
Dude,
It has had a massive impact on
I'm
America.
surprised she still remembers that. See, I'm glad some of us, like ones mainly here in the U.S. or Canada, I don't know how any of the Europeans or all the other countries and nations in the world, they got Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and the other stuff, those block channels, those programming block channels. Like they got VH1, MTV, Cartoon Network, Disney, Nickelodeon, and what else? VH1. I'm not sure if they got all those same type of programming content stuff that we got. So I have a nostalgia vibe for it, bro. I really do.
Culture for the past 21 years. That's right, 21 years.
Courage, oh, dude. I remember what a cartoon. If any of you guys remember that, beautiful, man. Good times, bro. And that one along with the one that Cartoon Nickelodeon had, the three I was hooked, like addicted to, like freaking crack. Was Invader Zim, Cat Dog, and what else? Besides that, I know there was one more. There was obviously the SpongeBob, excluding the SpongeBob and Very Odd Parents, because I know that's their golden boys nowadays. It's I don't know, it's between Our Real Monsters, Chalk Zone, or something else. My Life as a Teenage Robot. That was my jam for Nickelodeon. And then the other stuff, I know there's something that Gen Zers grew up with a lot more than I did. What was it? I know they like Steven Universe. You know how I feel about that. I still don't care about that much at all. That Adventure Time, I didn't care about any of those. I'm sorry. And then, like, what else? Chicago Bear, Illinois. I don't know. That's something that Gen Z grew up a lot more than, because I stopped watching American, Canadian cartoons after I stuck with a lot of anime stuff and live action stuff and live action movies. And that was it.
This sin fest of adult animation has been rocking its way on a children's entertainment network for as long as a human being has to live to drink. But when Adult Swim debuted, adult animation wasn't like a new idea. In 1972, the X-rated film Fritz the Cat's made like $90 million worldwide.
Oh yeah, dude, this is so old. I've only seen clips of this, but like, it's really raunchy.
Why? Yeah, The Simpsons, which first...
Dude, I remember that too. Totally remember that. I don't remember what it was like. It was like 1971 or 72. That was like my old man and my mom's time back then. And they weren't allowed to watch those adult cartoons, but I think it was like super not safe for work. Old school American version of Dojin and hentai. And I think it was like furry anthro shit too. I think it was late 70s, early 80s that shit started happening, but it's way before internet existed in the early mid-90s. So this is some wild ass shit, man. Old school depravity, dead generosity, promiscuity, aka their version of like the furry version of OF fans. Oh, dude, I remember The Simpsons too. Who doesn't? I just talked about it on my BitChute channel because I do all the predicted stuff. Like my dude says, I know I was getting the conspiracy theory stuff, and then my dude KJ, scariest movie ever back in the day, and RFB from Boston, and Jacob's Ladder, they talk about it a bunch because they do a lot of predicting on that. And I get into that because it gets in the whole rabbit hole of a Silent Crowd, Nice Templar, Bill Burr, Rockefeller, all these other super extra evil motherfuckers that actually control the world, in my opinion. But that I got a confession, man. I never got big in The Simpsons. I was way more into Family Guy and South Park. That Family Guy, South Park, and what else was out there? Oh, yeah. The Oblongs, if any of you guys remember that show. It's the old school shit there. That and Dilbert. That was my freaking jam, bro. Even though there were adult cartoons in King of the Hill, that was my jam too.
Aired in 1989, and I think it's still going. I haven't checked it.
The Simpsons is so soft compared to Fritz the Cat, though. Yeah, Simpsons is not. Yeah, Fritz the Cat is like way older. I'm pretty sure that's also how furries became like a thing in the 70s. Yeah, they definitely like birthed that.
A little bit. In 2005, South Park won the Peabody Award, which is insane, but it's proof that, this wasn't new. But what sets apart Adult Swim from other channels? Well, I guess not channel.
I'll tell you a personal story. When I was a kid and we lived in New Zealand, the premiere...
That's the thing I like about her channel, too. I'm not trying to give gaslighting SmugAlana or any of that. Hopefully any of the people in the chat, and there's people in the chat, they're probably not even there anymore. This was like 4 or 5 days ago. That's the thing about Twitch, has a lot of that culture, is a lot more positive, and some negative parts in it too, having a chat like that. Because they just see them as just numbers and shit when they become super famous. Mother effers like her, she's like, already got the silver play button from like 2 months ago. Congrats, golf clap on that. But the thing is, like, bro, a lot of that stuff becomes hardcore parasocial stuff, but I like some of her stuff. Some of her stuff, she does live up to her reputation and her name, man. She is very super smug, and sometimes I mean B word. Real nasty POS. And then other times I agree with her on a lot of shit. She's like the cool, awesome cousin, little sister I would have liked to have in my house. She's cool as that. I like SmugAlana. She's cool as shit sometimes. And sometimes I disagree with her. I only been subbed to her like a year and a half. You know, she mainly does a lot of her stuff on Twitch. She just dumps a lot of this stuff here on YouTube. I don't know if she does it or someone else does it for her.
For South Park, I don't know.
Do like an employee search or not.
When it happened, but there was a premiere, and my brother told me a story that the day that premiere, because it was like a big deal, right? Back in the day, it was a really big deal, and they had Comedy Central. And
oh, dude, her brother's got to be like my age, like 30 or 35, 40 years old. So she's way younger than mine, this chick, SmugAlana. Because I remember when old school South Park came out, so I'll hear her story.
Day after, when that premiered, everyone was freaking the fuck out in school, and teachers and adults alike all wanted to ban that game.
Oh,
yeah, not game, sorry, that show. They all wanted to fucking ban it.
I wonder if she's talking about the N64 game or the SNES one that came out.
It's premiere, you fucking ding-dongs. Why are you so hung up on it, man? It was at 10 p.m. It premiered, and it was a big deal. Super big deal. And there was so much, like, bullshit, and, like, they were saying, oh, we have to change everything, and it was, I remember my brother told me that story a long time ago, man.
Trey Parker, Mastone, they changed the game for that shit back in the 1990s. It was a whole other world in the 80s and 90s, bro. Huge ass, massive different world. I can't even speak that much for the age, but all the movies and culture my parents used to tell me about, massively different world compared to how it is 2024 going almost 2025 in like 3 more months from now.
But what sets it apart isn't its notable longevity or its tendency to shock audiences. It was its ability to create its own space to showcase alternative voices and ideas under one roof. Its ability to bring outsider art to the mainstream. And its ability to, for some reason, not worry about making any money while doing the first 2 things. Welcome to Adult Swim.
Wait, what does it say?
To, for some reason, not worry about making any...
Adult Swim cancels controversial comedy show from alt-right creator. Oof.
Money while doing the first 2 things. Welcome to Adult Swim, one of the most important cultural touchstones of American modern television. So before we dive into Adult Swim, and yeah, there's going to be
I know some of the history because I actually was growing up in middle school and high school, and this shit was way at its peak, at its time, and its prime, and its stardom, fame at that time. Adult Swim. This is when old school cable television was really huge at the time. I'm old as hell. I'm an old man compared to a lot of Gen Zers out there. I'm just saying.
Swimming puns in this one. We need to take a little trip into an
you guys remember it too. Who knows?
world known as the 1990s. Some of you kiddos have only been alive for years that start with a 2 and a 0, so let me tell you about the 90s as an expert on the decade. Corner-operated phone booths littered street corners, which is crazy because not only were you making literal phone calls in public in boxes, but you also had to have quarters on you all the time, which is weird to me. Pizza Hut was a sit-down restaurant, and they also had these really cool lamps that I cannot find for the life of me. I want one so goddamn bad. Games like Doom and Quake were giving sexless men with no
Dude, some things never change, man. Some things never change, dude. Legit, not a damn thing, man.
In life, something to do while they whittled away. And cable TV had grown from a novelty to a necessity. Originally, cable TV was something for rich people to have to flex on the poors who were still using rabbit ears to get channels. But then in the 90s, cable TV became a giant industry.
I remember when I was still living in New York and Spanish on New York, when on my dad's side of the family mainly lived there, like a lot of them had that old school black, white, like super old school when we had to change the old dials and all that. It made a loud ass stinging noise, and then the one with the loud buttons would go. Man, that was wild. Well, my grandparents weren't into that back then, but my parents were. They had a shit ton of old school cable TV and digital cable back then. Back then it was the old school king of entertainment, way before social media platforms, YouTube, smartphones, and AR, VR shit existed. Entertainment existed, like before VR chat, before entertainment with these little camera drones were a thing. Vlogging stuff was a thing. There was only that. Wild times. I know some of you Gen Z kids, especially Gen Alpha. I hope there's no Gen Alpha kids watching, but if there is, this is way before your time. This is how humanity lived in U.S. and Canada. I can't speak for every other country, but that's the main 2 countries that lived like that.
Over $1 billion in ad revenue every year.
Especially if you were a couch potato like I was. Thank God.
This bizarre.
And now it's complete unwatchable dog shit, and nobody likes it. Yeah.
Our backdrop of prosperity and ugly culture was the perfect pressure cooker for the insanity of Adult Swim. I had to read that one off the phone because that was a really hard full sentence to say and memorize. In the early 90s, cartoons were a far cry from what we know them as today. Instead of, original shows that people know and love, it was really just mainly Hanna-Barbera reruns for the most part. Hanna-Barbera, the studio that was founded by the Tom and Jerry creators in the early 50s, and then they made a bunch of terribly animated shows like the Jetsons, Yogi.
Oh my God, yeah. This is some of my parents' childhoods. I don't know about that one though. I know my mom said like she really would like Pink Panther and Snugglepuss. And what else? I don't know if she ever cared about that. I know she never liked Rocky and Bullwinkle or Yogi Bear. I used to annoy the crap out of her about them. Oh, that was way before my time. All this. I remember they used to show reruns of a lot of this shit back in the day, man. I don't know if I can see it. Secret Squirrel. I remember after the Powerpuff Girls, when I was a 90s kid, they used to show like the Secret Squirrel shorts. I think after Cow and Chicken or after Powerpuff Girls. They would also have a super small little segment episode for that one. That time slot back in the day. Dang. This one was way before my time. I think he was from the Flintstones and Flintstones kids. That's all I remember. I don't remember any of these. I do remember that one and the Wacky Races, but that's when he used to show old school Boomerang stuff. This is like my parents' childhood back then, the Hanna-Barbera shit. That's from my mom's side. My dad, I think he was like a teenager at the time, so this would have been like, all these cartoons are for babies. You know, they were way mentally, spiritually, people in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, they had a way massively different way of thinking compared to how they do now. I'm not going to get into that though, because Italian involves like a lot of political, religious shit.
Air, Flintstones, like all those things.
What do you mean? I like Scooby-Doo, man!
That's the only one, the Jetsons, Flintstones. I think Scooby-Doo, this one. They had so many remakes and modern day remakes for Scooby-Doo. So many times. I think this one was actually my dad's favorite character here. The Clef Cat? Clef Clap. I don't know. Smart Cat.
Fun fact, almost every Hanna-Barbera character has a collar or something around their neck in their character design because it made it easier to animate their faces by just swapping out their heads completely. That has nothing to do with the video, but now you'll never be able to unsee it. But the rise of syndicated cable made it so Sunday cartoons were becoming less...
The AI still slowly started, not taking over because it's not yet, but it's slowly making baby steps. Taking, sadly, a lot of people's artist jobs. Writers and drawers artists.
Less popular over time. The kids are drinking Surge soda and eating Future ice cream. They don't got time for no goddamn wacky races. This allowed the back catalog of Hanna-Barbera cartoons to drop in price.
I never heard of that. That must have been in Europe or Canada. I've never heard of that soda at all. It was way before my time.
So TBS could sweep them up, and then that eventually led to the creation of Cartoon Network.
I remember TBS. That was like how TNT was. That shit's dead now.
In 1992. And it did...
Oh, I did not know that. They bought it.
Pretty well. I mean, there was not a lot of places on cable TV for kids to go and watch shit, so it was filling a vacuum. However, it had one large problem that other channels did not have to deal with, and this problem is, of course, the fact that, let me see here, children are dorks who go to bed early.
You know what's crazy? My brother grew up in the time where it was like Saturday cartoons, right? And I grew up in the...
Oh, man. I grew up on that one Saturday morning, so her brother's probably close to my age. Damn.
Of basically being in the transition point where cartoons were like constant, right? Like all the fucking time. Like you could turn on the cable and it's just something playing. And now it's even worse. It's YouTube.
Consistent problem across the board for TV people. So advertisers don't want to buy ad space at like 10 p.m. on Cartoon Network because literally nobody is watching that. And when you consider what other people were doing for late night TV in the 90s, you can see the advertiser's point. TV after 10 o'clock was hyper-focused on adults. Still kind of is, honestly. Major networks aired like talk shows and infomercials.
Oh, dude, that's when he was younger back then. This dude's like 85, 87 now. This is going to age the hell out of me, man. The Jay Leno dude, man. I know the one before my time, like that was my mom and dad's time, 60s, 70s, 80s era. Like, they grew up with Johnny Carson. I didn't grow up with that, but I looked at really, really old stuff, him and David Letterman. So I think David Letterman, he's still alive. He's like 85, 90 years old. I gotta go check real quick. Hold up. But back then, he was the king of old school late night talk show host back in the day. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Jay Leno and the other dude, he's still alive. Him and David Letterman, they're still breathing, thank God. These fools were funny as heck back in the day, bro. And this one passed away a long time ago, Johnny Carson. He died 2005 when I was like freshman, sophomore in high school, way back then. But these two are still living legends. Dang, 74, and the other one's 77, bro. I'm kind of going old and fossils, but they were funny as heck for their time, man. I'll leave the links to our Wikipedia down. Now, let's get back to the reaction review segment part of this video. I don't waste your time. Let's go.
Clock was hyper-focused on adults. Still kind of is, honestly. Major networks aired like talk shows and infomercials, and cable networks would play like risque movies or ads for phone sex, which was a big thing in the 90s. Phone.
Oh, yeah. Holy shit. I saw the back end of like a fucking sex ad for like a sex phone ad on TV once when I was a kid, and I was like asking my parents what that is. They were like, no, why are you asking? Where did you see that? I'm like, I don't know. I think I saw it on TV. I was like, what the fuck, man?
Sex, which is crazy to me. I don't think I would ever see me feel that. I'm just happy how far we've come in the porn industry. This is actually
no way in hell would I ask my parents. I have no religiously strict Christian households. There's no way in heck. I remember having my old search on TV. They used to show those freaking crazy wild ass thing like GDW, the old school girls gone wild shit. Nowadays it'll be massively unacceptable to show like old like sex freaking phone like not safe for work, raunchy ass freaking like commercials like that. Especially in the day we're in.
fun fact.
Oh, apparently in Germany, that's really common too, because we would get German channels, and after 8 or 9 p.m., those were really, really common. Like, super common for some reason.
USA Network was wiling out with a program called USA Up All Night. It was hosted by Gilbert Gottfried, and it would just play heavily edited beats.
Dude, I forgot about that dude, Gilbert Gottfried. And he was the dude that did the old school version of Aladdin's voice, Iago. Rest in peace to that dude, man. He was really funny. I don't know, I think it was 2016 or 2017 where we did I think I did like an old Rest in Peace tribute video that I did a couple of years back. I hope I did.
Like list porn exploitation movie.
Old school show before I was born, like 1989 and 1991, 92. I didn't watch those like 6, 7 years old. That Problem Child show. He was super extra funny as hell in that show.
All the time, like one of them was Nymphoid Barbarian.
Look it up, Google or go on TikTok or Firefox for that show.
In Dinosaur Hell. I'd watch that right now. Even children's cable programming pioneer Nickelodeon would change their whole thing and do Nick at Night, which would be like, you know, sitcoms from times earlier. So they would get the adult appeal without being, you know, degenerates. Something that...
And people criticize this generation, like this recent one, for being gooners, but you had this shit on TV, by the way. You don't really get this kind of stuff on TV anymore, man. Oh, you little young kids are such gooners. It's like, I don't know, man. You guys are gooners, too.
You will learn Adult Swim did not take. But I've been neglecting to mention one important tidbit that even the Cartoon Network executives weren't counting on. A third of Cartoon Network's watchers were adults. Weird adults, but adults nonetheless. So you got a time slot where people aren't watching. You got some weird adults that might be floating around. What do? Well, you make a cartoon show for weird adults. In 1994, Cartoon Network made a show called Space Ghost Coast to Coast. And if you don't know what this is, get excited.
Dude, bro, that was my jam back in the day, dude. Space Ghost Coast to Coast, man. He had the Brax dude, and then he had that, I forgot his name, but he had the little feelers and everything. Bro, that was my freaking cheesecake, man. That was the gold, that was my golden nugget, my freaking idol back then. I used to idol worship the crap out of that show, Space Ghost Coast to Coast, bro. Good time. And then he had the thing that created the tsunami stuff back then too, bro. Some of my millennial people that were growing up in U.S. and Canada, you gotta know what tsunami was. He was the other dude that, I think his name was Braxtor or Brextor, Rockstor. I don't know what his name was, but he had that big giant gas mask and like the freaking ET freaking government mask. Voltor. I don't know. He had like these big giant yellow arms. I'll leave the link down below if I remember. But man, it's not Voltron. It's something else. He's the one that ended up being the side host of the old school Tsunami too, man.
There was an old Hanna-Barbera cartoon called Space Ghost that like literally everyone forgot about, and what they did was they take clips from that show and they would cut them up and edit them and voice them over to make a completely new show, because literally Cartoon Network did not have any money for original programming, so they had to cut corners every chance they got. The original...
Oh, and they bought the Hanna-Barbera, and this was Hanna-Barbera. Oh, that makes sense, actually. That's really smart.
Show was about a space superhero that fought dinosaurs.
The little things I was talking about.
Which is the most 60s fever dream coke bender idea I've ever heard. So then they took that character and put it in a talk show setting, which just by the premise alone is hilarious, I think. And since Cartoon Network did not have an original content budget, they had to funnel advertising budget into the show itself. Like they couldn't advertise Cartoon Network on other channels. They just had to put that money into Space Ghost Coast to Coast. And personally, I think it was worth it. And historically turned out...
It makes me feel old as hell, but I know my mom, she loved that guy. I do Weird Al Yankovic. He's still around.
But a lot of people were against the show originally. It was way before its time with extremely well-written jokes and absurdist humor, and it also got a bunch of real-life celebrities to go on the show in a weird meta talk show kind of thing. I mean, to get the vibe of the show.
Dude, that's amazing, man. Weird Al? Yeah, they interviewed Weird Al. I remember watching a clip of that.
All you have to do is see the time Conan O'Brien went on, and instead of Space Ghost interviewing him, Space Ghost just like investigated an ant for 10 minutes straight while Conan just dealt with it.
Shit really does feel like an old school fever dream, bro. It's like a whole different lifetime I was living. I was like 6 to 13-year-old me. I used to indulge myself. All shit, Cartoon Network, Disney. Not Disney that much, but Cartoon Network, old school VH1. They used to call pop-up videos. And since I wasn't allowed to watch MTV, I only was able to watch that whenever I was at my uncle or aunt's house at that time. And then Nickelodeon at that time. Dude, Good times on a Saturday morning. ABC had that one Saturday morning show too.
No one talking to him.
I think this show is very bad.
Bro, look how young he was, dude. Dang, time is a freaking bitch sometimes, man. That is what it is, man. He was cool back then. He still is.
It should be stopped.
Back when didn't Conan O'Brien?
And he was an old school gamer too as well. Like, he's way taller than me. He's like 7'8", 8'0". I'm only 6'0". That dude's like a behemoth, giant, way more than I am. He's probably past these freaking like, what's it called, closet doors. Well, I used to have them there.
Right for the Simpsons. Hold on, Conan O'Brien Simpsons.
Oh, he was the shit, bro.
Conan O'Brien. He's a former writer for the Simpsons. Yeah, back then when he was funny, man. Dude, he used to be funny. Now he's just cooked.
I think you're a bad person, and don't take this the wrong way.
All right. Just next level stuff. Just really next level shit. The show quickly gained a cult following, and it was shows of promise. So the executive.
I don't know, man. I mean, okay, compared to back when he was at his peak, I genuinely don't think he's that funny. Comparatively speaking, he's not that funny anymore. But
Disagree. He was the funniest ass I'm ever on the time. After a while, when these other two, some Latino dudes got big, like Gabriel Iglesias, this other dude who says, I think you're walking where Ruby and Carlos Mencia and George Lopez came on the scene. That's when I got hooked to their freaking comedy sketches.
yeah, sure.
After Conan
It was way better than that Fallon. No, I absolutely agree. Compared to like people now who still have a show, he's 100 times funnier. But I mean, comparatively speaking, I just think he's really funny. It's just relative.
People were like, okay,
Yeah.
what else can we do? This is kind of working. And they were like, I don't know, let's try anime. Anime might work. In the 90s, a lot of people, no one cared about anime in the 90s, really, at all. Some people did, but they were this. So the main...
Yeah. You're getting that era now. Huh?
It's really not that different, man. This is a time capsule for sure, man. Chat, I'm getting to this point. I want to get glass, what is it called? Glass stands for my figurines. I have a cart of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 figurines.
Damn.
Does he have Gundams?
Yeah, 7.
I can't tell. I don't think so. I can't tell.
So the mainstream appeal of anime was not there at all. So licensing was cheap. So they were like, screw it, throw it up there. And suddenly this became a
I
staple.
thought it was like 2006, 2008 when that was a thing. I didn't know people in the late 90s or 2000s were doing old school photography, picture, Polaroid selfies of themselves back then. They did that? What? I thought those was my junior, senior year of high school at the time when YouTube was a thing. That's when I started hearing the tips to fedora. M'lady. I thought that was it. I didn't know it was the late 90s or 2000s and that was a thing. It really is a time capsule. She's right.
Channel 2 during the nighttime segment, which led to the 1997 block Toonami, which you should know about.
Yes. That's what I liked back in the day. Toonami, God, man. What an old school asteroid. My old school anime weeaboo fans back in the day, you knew what that was if you lived in US Canada. Everywhere else, I can't speak for. Every other country, hopefully you had your own version of that.
Hamtaro! They had Hamtaro. I remember that.
And it showed a lot of kids.
Unless you were living somewhere like North Korea or Cuba or communist place like that, you probably didn't have that, fortunately.
Who had never had experience watching anime before things like Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon and Gundam Wing, all these shows that everyone loves now. So the executives all get together and talk to Mike Lazo, the creator of Space Coast Coast to Coast, and they say, hey, listen, we're starting to fuck with the vision a little bit, okay? We think we can turn this garbage time slot into something hot and bothered with the right direction. And Mike was like, let me hop in the kitchen, let me see.
One of the Japanese culture in there in the late 90s or 2000s, dude, man. And the people that are older than me, kids, like they're way older than me, 40s, 50s years old peoples, you probably only able to get that if you went over there physically way back in the day. If you had money, and those old VHS back in the day, 8-tracks you had to use.
But I can cook up real quick.
Changed the world forever. Yeah, DBZ was so big. My brother did that. My brother watched the show and then he would make me fucking watch it with him, man. I mean, honestly, it was only annoying because there would be constant reruns. The same 3 episodes would fucking air once a day at 6 p.m. and they would play them over and over. I fucking hated that. That's the only reason that I didn't like watching it with him, because they would play the same shit over and over. No. And then do episodes on Friday nights, if I recall correctly. Yeah, I don't know. It just really irked me.
Oh.
Of course, the ad sales team at Cartoon Network was resistant to it because they were like, you know, this is a cartoon children's network and you're selling really adult shows. How are we supposed to pitch this? And they had a good point. But Lazo, I don't know which one it is, but he had a year to pull this off. So, you know, who's to say he's even going to get it done? Who knows if he can pull this off?
He pulled it off.
A small group of people, headed by Lizzo, started working around the clock for a thing that would eventually become Adult Swim. None of them, mind you, with a history of animation in their background. None of them had that. What they did have was a shared vision of weird shit and the ability to work really hard for long hours. A lot of them had full-time jobs at a Cartoon Network, and they also had another full-time job, which was creating Adult Swim. And there was no, like, office...
Can I just interject with something? The reason why all these shows are fucking crazy is because all those producers and animators are cooked as fuck. The first time I ever got cooked AF, like personally, and I sat down to watch cartoons, I was like, I finally fucking get it. I finally understand these fucking cooked shows because I'm cooked as well. Like, I get it now. I understand. These people are all fucking cooked as fuck when they make these shows.
For the Adult Swim team, so they had to do whatever they could, wherever they could. They were editing footage in broom closets and using old PCs that no one else was using because that's all they had at the time. And also, even though Cartoon Network gave Adult...
I didn't get to have one, but whenever I went to one of my cousins or my grandparents' dads, like 4th, 5th cousins that was older than me, I'm not gonna say their names. God forbid, I doubt they're ever gonna watch this. What did they do? But an old freaking man now. His name started with Juan or Julius, but something Litos or whatever. I don't know. Anyways, dang, that was a trip because they had those old school things. I didn't have one until I was like 13, now 2002. At the time, that was the first time we used the old school family PC computer back then. So I couldn't get away with watching R34 or Prawn back then. So I would have been cooked badly, man. Like how she's saying, the cookness thing. I know that's more Gen Z thing. It's cooked. That's cooked up. They're using that more of a, I don't know, derogatory term, bad or a good term. I don't know. Not Gen Z either.
In the green light, no one at the company was really happy about it. Shows
old ball freaking super old school ball mouses where you had to use the mouse pad all the time for it. Before all the digital like just scanner freaking like laser mover was a thing. And then the one that was wireless was a thing.
Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, and C-Lab 2021, which were...
Oh my god, my brother loved this show. He thought it was so funny.
Were also 2 Hanna-Barbera shows that, like,
yeah,
that show was boring as fuck to me. So I guess me and her brother had different tastes. Yeah, we both like Dragon Ball Z. That's cool. And Harvey Birdman on C-Lab 2021, bored the shit out of me. That shit was not funny. Hot take. Any of you guys like that? Good on you. More power to you. But for me, that thing bored the living crap out of me, man. I used to just play my Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance whenever they showed that back then, if it was on Saturday or Sunday. I didn't give a rat's butt about that.
No one was thinking about it anymore, so they gave it the old Space Ghost treatment and just kind of changed things about it and remixed it. Well, these remixes actually ended up upsetting the original creators of the show because they didn't say you could do that. And the original shows were like fun kids cartoons, and these were not at all. Try to get one.
I mean, they sold the rights, so you're kind of fucked, to be honest. I don't know how it works, honestly. I feel like, yeah, they sold it. Like, yeah, you can say you don't like it, but like, geez.
To my mother. Your mother. Alex Toth, the original creator of Birdman and C-Labs, was like, yo, stop. Please stop. Which I understand, but how can you watch this clip from C-Lab and tell me it's not worth it?
Dude, check me out. I'm like a little otter. A sexy little otter. Damn.
I quote this daily. No one knows what I'm talking about, but I am a sexy little otter. And it's not just the creators. People inside...
Isn't an otter like a term for gay men that are like short and kind of slick? Yeah, I'm pretty sure, is it not? Yeah.
I think the different slang, the way English and not the rhetoric, but the different slang and the logos, the terminology in the 70s, those are way different lifetime. I can't speak for any of that, 70s, 80s. I didn't exist. But any old seniors are like 55, 65 and up. Let me know.
That's the term for gay men. Like a twink, but hairy. Yeah, hairy twink, that was it. Yep, there we go.
Were confused as hell as to what is going on. Executives still fully didn't understand what the appeal or even the base humor of these shows actually were. The ad team still didn't know how to pitch these shows to advertisers because I personally wouldn't know how to do that. And once again, people were editing footage in closets. So, you know, the work-to-life balance was not great. But despite the crazy working conditions and initial confusion, the trials and tribulations were over, and Adult Swim finally debuted on September 2nd, 2001.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty close to 9/11, huh?
Oh, yeah. I know that passed last month. I don't feel like always bringing that up anymore. Oh, wow. It was 8 days before that 9-1-1 day happened. There's like a billion trillion videos on theories on that. There used to be. I mean, YouTube is very, very super strict on that freaking day when that did happen. Because not even just because of misinformation, disinformation, but a lot of old shit that AJ Jones used to talk about, I used to listen to when I was in my late teens, early mid-20s. I sucked up his stuff like a sponge.
kind of strong, dude.
Wild, man.
Wait.
Starting that.
Oh my god, dude. Do you think that, like, people, like, kind of trauma bonded after 9/11 with Adult Swim? Do you think that, like, was a factor why it was so popular? It could be. I think it can, yeah.
Well, there's more trials and tribulations.
That was the last straw for Osama. Oh my god, chat, you can't just type that.
Coming up, but they were out of Adult Swim's control. They couldn't really do anything about it.
Oh my god, bro.
So the red carpet wasn't exactly laid out for Adult Swim's premiere, which makes sense because it aired at midnight, and people don't really care about new programming blocks. Like, looking back on it, yeah, it's Adult Swim, it's a big deal, but, like, you know, CBS is like, we're running new who gives a fuck? No one's tuning in for that. But it was a weird start, like, it was a slow roll. Like, it wasn't a, hey, here's Adult Swim, completely finished, enjoy it, we're done.
Oh my god, they're Boondocks, Metalocalypse. King of the Hill! I thought King of the Hill was, like, a standalone. That's awesome.
Making it. It was a slow rollout. It was testing the waters of the late night audiences. On the first night at midnight, they just played the first episode of Home Movies, which is a fantastic show, but then it kind of tapered off.
That's a throwback there, man. Home Movies, bro. Like I said, I'm not trying to get super ultra parasocial relationship with you guys, but man, that was a freaking vibe. That frequency and vibe that freaking they had back in the day, that was some good ass freaking times with Home Movies, man. I know that it was grainy and the animation looked real shitty and choppy, but the way they just talked, just like regular normal people across the street in the late 90s, early 2000s, I remember some of the teachers, I didn't really like eavesdrop on them, but the way some of the teachers security used to talk like that, they used to talk that way sometimes. Whenever I get in trouble at principal offices once every month, some of the adults would talk like that. Mainly a lot of the women more than men. The men just kind of shut their mouth and just shut the fuck up and let the women, female teachers do their work. But this was, you gotta understand, late 90s, early 2000s. That was a whole other different world back then compared to how it is now.
And then a few months down the line, they also soft launched a
People
couple.
a lot more unhinged, but they still have manners. Before smartphones and all this technology existed.
Squidbillies! Dude, this is like unlocking things
Another throwback then.
in my brain I forgot about. Yeah, dude, this is crazy shit.
Other shows like Aqua Teen Hunger Force and other popular Adult Swim cartoons.
Oh, shout out to this other dude. I watch him. I'm just gonna give him some clout and credit. Anyways, his name's Zero Omens. He is a hardcore fanatic fanboy of him, and that's cool too. I'm glad. I used to love the shit out of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Dude, that was my bread and butter, my breakfast, lunch, and dinner for entertainment. When I was like in middle school, high school, like 8th grade, all the way to like my senior year of high school. Dude, we're really going old school history books with this, bro. Like 2002, 03, all the way to like 2008.
He did this by airing it unannounced at 4 a.m. in December of 2001, so I don't know if they don't want people to see these things, but whatever. And then finally, after a 5-month delay, Adult Swim officially premiered on a Labor Day weekend, which is crazy, because people are doing shit on Labor Day weekend. No one is whatever. Despite
In America, they're doing the like 4th of July stuff, hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken, french fries. That's what my family and parents were doing back then. I was 11, 12-year-old little me were doing.
Thing I just said, Adult Swim somehow managed to grow exponentially throughout its first year. And this is in spite of the fact that all the advertising promoting Adult Swim was not showing people why they should watch it. It was to prove to people that children shouldn't. Which is a wild way to handle this. But the explicit
Word of mouth traveled so fast back in the day. Like, it was crazy. Crazy shit, man.
anti-advertising campaign actually really worked, and it kind of set the precedent for what the channel was going to be for the rest of its life. It nailed the coveted 18 to 34 age bracket, and that's my people, baby. That's what I work for.
Really?
That's pretty close to mine.
Massively underage, and I was like 12 when this came out. I was not past 18.
Actually, hold on. My YouTube statistics. Oh, damn it. Where is it?
Labor Day, doing Adult Swim's advertising promoting Adult Swim was not showing people why they should watch it. It was to prove to people that children shouldn't. Which is a wild way to handle this. But the explicit anti-advertising campaign actually really worked, and it kind of set the precedent for what the channel was going to be for the rest of its life. It nailed the coveted 18 to 34 age bracket, and that's my people.
Yeah, that's pretty close to my graph as well. That's pretty close.
Baby, that's what I work for. Advertisers still had no goddamn clue what was going on with these oddball shows, but all they knew was they wanted a piece of it, baby, because people are watching it. And Adult Swim soon expanded to multiple nights.
Laurel, there it is! That traumatizing ass show, man.
No, I don't think it was. That one was since I was living out here, this was like the first 2 years I started watching it, like 2003, I was like 13, I was 14, 15. I used to watch that a few times more, but since that was based on a lot of Mormon, they were making fun of a shit ton of stuff there, man. And I remember a few of the teachers, not the ones that I didn't work with, but like two of the teachers, because over here in Nevada, where I'm at, Utah's right next door. No offense to anyone that's Utah. I love you, Utah Indians, Utah-onians, Utahians. Because over here we all call ourselves Nevadans, but I don't like being called that stupid. But Utah peoples, that's like Mormon Central out there, man. They bashed, poked fun of so many jokes at Mormon Amish people. It was really, really crazy. I'm not gonna get into like this. I know it's a very controversial religion too, because I think sometimes they promote. I hope it's not disinformation, but like back in the day, I think they promote a lot of incest and a lot of polygamy crap in Utah. No offense to anyone living over that. I'm just saying. That's what I used to hear about this dude. Look him up, Warren Hefe. Really, really crazy shit, man. Warren Oil was wild. They didn't scare the crap out of me though, but ain't for some people probably did. It was a claymation show, but they bashed a shit ton of stuff on. Not even evangelical Christians. It was like Mormons and Amish people. I think they made fun of.
More original programming and more anime. They're always going to put more anime in this puppy. And it also became a haven for animated shows that were canceled by their original network. Futurama and Family Guy both were canceled by Fox.
Oh, dude. I completely forgot about Futurama. I think like 2 years ago or last year. They were going to do like a revival season, whatever. But I don't know if there's going to be the same things. Because the same dude that did SpongeBob SquarePants Boys. I forgot his name. I think it's Tommy, not Tommy Likas. Tommy something. I forgot his name. I'll leave the link down below. I'm probably forgetting it, but I'll remember it later.
They found a new life on Adult Swim, which, gave it enough reputation and viewership to
I will never forgive them for canceling Futurama, man. Never.
start those shows back over again. And if you take nothing out of this video, please understand that the only reason why Futurama continued to go was because of Adult Swim. So that's all you got to know about this shit.
The original meaning definition of cancellation, not like somebody gets in trouble. Oh, they were texting a hurry a minor or something like that. No, I'm talking about the old school version of that word.
Why it's so great. And the popularity of these X-Network shows brought a lot of people to the channel. And they were programmed earlier into the Adult Swim block, so like it was a buffer between children's cartoons and the weird shit that you're going to see later on. But actually, the crazy thing is the original programming that had all the crazy stuff in it, that became the main appeal of the channel, which nobody expected. You got Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which came from when the creator heard a story about how a fast food restaurant was putting together pieces of old burgers to sell to people like they were new. That's how this show started. The show...
Wow, I never knew
That guy is so cooked, man. That is so cooked. I did not know that lore.
Has an anthropomorphic milkshake, a box of fries, and a wad of meat, known as Meat Wad. They live in a suburban neighborhood, they fight aliens, and they live next to a perverted piece of shit named Carl. That's the premise of the show. It was a hit.
Oh, that dude used to make me laugh hard as fuck. The Carl dude. And there's that stereotype Italian Greek dude, like that East Coast New York, New Jersey sort of old school bigoted stereotype. But man, his shit was fire as heck, man. Oh man, he was the literal, like, not even bee's knees. He was the freaking goat back then, man. That was my favorite character, bro.
In spite of itself, it tried so hard to make people not like it.
I like the other one too. Shake was the funniest out of my hot take with that. I could do a whole other video with that, but it's gonna waste a lot of my time. But whatever. Meatwad and the other one, Frylock, he was okay. He was a more reasonable, like, super smart intellectual one. And he was like a Jamaican braids of a black dude. I know it was a black guy that, like, did his voice acting, but he was funny as hell.
It was thought to be such an unwatchable show that network executives said that maybe let's make them detectives. Make them detectives. People will like that more. It makes a little bit more sense. And I guess, I mean, the show really had no plot to begin with, so if you give it...
There is no sense, man. Everyone who liked the show was cooked AF. Just like the creators, man. That doesn't have to make sense.
A little something to go on, I guess they could make people watch it, but they were detectives for 3 episodes, and then they dropped that premise immediately and never went back to it.
Yeah.
Where else are you going to find this kind of stuff besides Adult Swim? The network begged for them to change the voice of Meatwad because no one can understand him when he talked. Literally, viewers were writing in saying, am I going...
That's the whole appeal, though.
That's why he annoyed the fuck out of me. No offense to the voice actor. I was doing their job and career, but he annoyed the shit out of me, dude. Not because he had a black center and any of that shit either, but man... It's the little gimmicks that he did was just stupid as hell. It is still, even to this day. It was like a cat scratching an old school chalkboard wall. That's how annoying it was.
It doesn't say... People couldn't understand what Kenny's saying, but that's the whole joke. Yeah, it was like the Kenny of, the Kenny of Super Hardcore Team Sports.
Crazy? I can't understand what this guy is saying.
South Park. I feel like he was more like... What was it called? The dude from freaking, like... the Boondocks. The one that has Uncle Ruckus thought he was a white dude, but he did all this, like, super old school racist stuff back in the day.
And they refused. The writers refused to do that. The creators also insisted that the voice of Master Shake, Dana Snyder, should get absolutely hammered for his audition tape to get the role, and he did, and he got the role.
I am a modern-day Tom Sawyer.
All of this combined made Aqua Teen Hunger Force the flagship show of the channel for years to come. We have the Venture Bros, which is a really important show if you look into it a little bit. It was a parody of
I
this
used to binge watch the hell of Venture Bros.
60s style superhero family shows like Johnny Quest, but after 7 seasons, it morphed into an entirely different thing altogether. Venture Bros was one of the first cartoon shows that adopted the golden age of television rules in terms of writing. writing and plot, while other cartoon shows had short stories and very little continuity in terms of, like, like The Simpsons always wear the same shirt and everything goes back to normal at the end of the episode. Venture Bros created a cast of pop culture obsessed superheroes that, like, fought generational trauma that built upon itself. But the show would
This was so powerful, even as a child, not understanding half of the reference in this. Like, my brother would watch it, and because he was on the internet, he would understand it more than me, but I still liked it for some reason. There's like a vibe to it, I think.
constantly take the audience expectations and turn them on their head, because like one episode they would maybe cover the topic of toxic masculinity and how much that can harm somebody, and then the next episode they'll bring in Brick Frog, who's a guy who dresses up like a frog and throws bricks at people.
It looks like freaking Big Mode by Donkey.
Brick Frog! Thank you!
Part of the success of Venture Bros was the fact that it was only written by two people. There was no writer's room for the show. And that significantly slowed down the production of the show because it took 14 years to make 7 seasons, which is a bad turnaround rate. But it created a mind meld of consistent, thoroughly thought out script writing that the creators called Unibrain. Instead of a writer's room where, comedy writers are fighting over who gets their joke in there and it's not really about, the characters or the plot, Venture Bros became an honest expression of a very particular type of nerdy obsessive. The exact type of person who is up at 3 a.m. and watching cartoons. So it worked out perfectly. But as much as Adult Swim nailed it with their adult cartoons, things got weirder over time. They switched the script a little bit by including live action programming to their adult cartoon block. The surreal satire of Tim and...
Nah, I didn't like that, except for, what's his name? This show was fun.
Oh, that was only funny like 2-3 episodes, and after that I kind of fell off on this one. I remember this shit back in the day, man. The Tim and Eric show. That's that one fool. They used to like... If anybody's still watching that dude Review Tech USA, he used to make a lot of jokes and his puns and references. This crap was funny as hell, though, man. Eric Andre show, dude, that was my jam, dude. That was my addiction. I used to love watching this fool. He used to prank so many MFers and the celebrity actors and music artists, the person who was in Hollywood at the time, the famous people back then, and the old school, what they call nowadays, influencers. But back then they weren't. They were just like actors, producers, sports stars, comedians, sometimes politicians. When one of these came on the show, they had no idea what they were going to do with them. He would prank the shit out of them, and they weren't notified at all by their agents or talent agencies on this. It just was raw humor like that. It was wild. His shit was hilarious. The last one was like 2-3 years ago. I think he did a show with like Johnny Knoxville and this other chick that used to be in that Pressure show, and they did pranks on other people. It was wild.
I didn't get a lot of the other
Eric
ones.
Andre show.
Yeah, Eric Andre, that was...
There it is. Now SmugAlana.
Yes, he was funny.
Eric's awesome show, great job, and the Eric Andre show brought a whole new brand of anti-comedy and cringe humor to people who have never seen that shit before. The editing style and surreal sense of humor of these shows created a home for offbeat performers to experiment and turn indie comics into influential voices in mainstream comedy. Without Adult Swim, someone like Eric Andre would still be pretending to be a caveman at Geico live events. And speaking of
Is that what he did, man? Oh my
people
god,
that no one else is going to give a shot to, Adult Swim also did live action things that they like to call infomercials. They were not infomercials. These shows usually aired at 4 a.m. with no warning, no title card. They would just pretend to be commercials, or they wouldn't even pretend to be commercials. This is something I'm really passionate about. I love these things. Sometimes Adult Swim humor...
I love it when men talk passionately about things that they know a lot about. So fucking good, man. I'm sorry, I just gotta get it out.
Was the fact that there was no humor. Like, it was more about all the parts being not funny that made the whole bit hilarious. If you stumbled upon one of these infomercials at 4 a.m. and you had a little dribble of mental illness in your brain, you would wake up with grippy socks in a hospital the next morning. We have unedited footage of a bear, which starts out like, an unedited footage of
That was a little fucked up, but yeah, still funny.
Bear, and then it breaks into an infomercial about anti-allergy medication and becomes a horrifying example of doppelgangers and I guess the big pharmaceutical industry. We have too many...
Dude, I forgot about these, dude. I think it was like 2007, 2010. I was like my senior year to like my freshman, sophomore year community college when this shit started getting big. I used to laugh so freaking hard at these infomercials. 2 of them scared the shit out of me. I literally almost pissed myself when I watched. It was episode 40 or 50 fake infomercials.
It starts like a 90s comedy sitcom, and then it devolves horribly. It's terrifying. Then we have There Are People in This House, which is my favorite thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
What was the parody for Too Many Cooks?
Starts like a 90s...
What's that show that was on mainstream cable?
Oh,
Full House!
I remember like 4 or 5 years ago when those iceberg videos started getting big. I heard about this before. I never watched this one. I missed this one. I don't know if I was still doing like community college work or I was at my first like grocery store job before I started doing my hotel casino job later.
Thank you. Yes,
comedy sitcom, and then it
This
devolves
is fine, yeah.
horribly. It's terrifying.
This should scare the shit out of me. Man.
Then we have There Are People in This House, which is my favorite thing I've ever seen in my entire life. If you have the time, jump into the ARG if There Are People in This House.
It's like going back in a time portal machine, bro. Time clock machine museum. Like seeing all the shit that Adult Swim did. Too Many Cook shit was. That was nightmare fuel. I couldn't sleep for a freaking month when I saw that shit. And I was a grown man at that time. I was like 19, 20, 21. This was still a thing.
It seems like it doesn't make sense. It makes a lot of sense, and it's horrible.
Young grown man.
Fine. Wham City Comedy made most of these, and Adult Swim is just doing stuff like this because they can, and it's still working. Like, imagine TBS doing something like this. Imagine MSNBC throwing on a horrifying bear video. They'll get shut down. Adult Swim doesn't care, though, baby. What other channel are you going to get stuff like this? You won't find it anywhere else. Adult Swim is in a league of its own.
True.
How come?
Adult Swim didn't reinvent the wheel, but they did create something wholly unique. A mainstream place where animation for adults and subversive comedy could grow. It would be impossible to accurately measure the pop culture influence that Adult Swim has had on the American public or the world.
I also think that it inspired a lot of artists that are outrageous. I can't name them off the top of my head. They do exist out there, but they're definitely a dying breed, bro. Adult Swim is just like, how many generations is like? I would say like late millennials to early stage Zoomers, or late stage Zoomers, I say. Oh my God, Juji, what the fuck, man? Why are you policing him? Stop it! Jesus. Yeah, it was generational. Yeah, me Kenyan for sure. Yeah.
Oh,
And also give us
dudes like Flash gets and me can. They probably got the inspiration from that. And the Senor Pelo. A lot of those YouTuber like animators, like the one that did bad stuff from what I heard, Animated James. And he was still in the Brony community, a bunch of other fools that came from that generation. Oh, dude. Oh yeah, that's definitely hit my old school generation here, millennials, man. Jesus, bro. Yeah, this hits my funny bone nostalgia.
Alright, yeah. Again, Andre was like a literal who, and he popped the frick off. If Adult Swim never existed, anime would have never gotten a foothold in the West. If anime didn't get a foothold, we wouldn't have VTubers. If we didn't have VTubers, Alana wouldn't exist. Alana, thank Adult Swim. Thank you, Adult Swim, for birthing me into existence. I appreciate it.
Very freaking true, man. Literally, if it wasn't for that, man, Cartoon Network doing the thing with like Adult Swim and the anime and manga stuff. And that's kind of with another thing too, because like Kids WB kind of had a foot in that too. Kids WB, Cartoon Network Toonami, and the other one I'm trying to think, like Jetix, the Disney side project Jetix. All three of those freaking programming blocks kind of made anime real popular. It wasn't just Toonami and all that stuff. And then years later, here we are now in the freaking future. I would never thought in my high schools, community college days, and my old hotel casino job I used to work at, I'd see like digitalized like virtual VTubers of the future will start like taking over like a shit ton of popularity on Twitch and YouTube. It's wild. We're living in some Jetsons times. I just heard the other day, completely off topic, that New York City is gonna have as one of the first flying freaking like cars by 2025 or 2028. I know China and I think South Korea did it for a little while, but now they're starting to do it now.
It did how do I say it? It did put a foot into the door for VTubers, so to speak, because of anime. The time slot for Inuyasha, Sailor Moon, freaking Hamtaro. Yep.
For that matter. And that's because it's bigger than the sum of its parts. You can draw parallels between Adult Swim's original programming and the biggest adult animated shows right now, like Bob's Burgers or BoJack Horseman.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. I didn't get bigger than that. I think the second BoJack Horseman, and I think, I don't know, it was like 2013 or 14, because that's around the time I completely just stopped watching TV at that time. Completely. I think it was 2012 or 2013. That one and BoJack Horseman and the Bobby's Burgers, like, I didn't get big on that one, man. Those, my personal opinion, no offenses or fanboys or fangirls that watch that, but that shit put me to sleep, bro. I'm sorry. I like the Family Guy and what's it called, American Dad way more, a Cleveland show. I was way more in those crazy controversial cartoons, a lot more compared to like those two. I think because, I don't know, it's because not YouTubers made it, they were indie projects. To me personally, it didn't pop off for me that fast. It wasn't that good. Some of you kids probably like it. I think more Gen Zers are a lot more bigger into Bob's Burgers and BoJack Horseman. It didn't hit me the right way. But if you love it and you like it, hey, it's cool. It just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah, BoJack's Horseman is in the same vein of like being really fucked up. I think they did get influenced a lot.
Or you could find parallels between the surrealist comedy of Tim Heidecker and Eric Andre into shows like I Think You Should Leave. That probably had a huge influence. There was countless writers, producers, animators that came out of Adult Swim or came into Adult Swim, which changed the landscape forever. But altogether, Adult Swim was mostly just a vibe. It was just a vibe that took America by storm. The brand exuded a feeling that anything could happen on this channel at any time. It had weird but fantastic self-referential bumpers, played insane April Fool's jokes on its viewers, and
bumpers, bro. Those bumper little commercials when the text will always show off. Those made me laugh so. This is the old school ROFL, LMFAO. Laugh my freaking head off, man. My butt off. Big time with that.
We brought anime into America.
Ooh, yep, Trigun. My brother got into Trigun because of Toonami and Adult Swim.
Oh, yeah.
We watched all the movies for it. He rented them. He showed me Ghost in the Shell, Cowboy Bebop.
Not to be a fearmonger, but the way we're going as humanity is going right now, I feel like we're going to be living in Ghost in the Shell times pretty soon. Look that up. It's some sci-fi dystopian shit like Hunger Games, Black Mirror, Purge shit. I'm not trying to be fearmonger. I'm just saying.
I think he tried to get me into Gundams, but it just didn't pick up with me. Yeah, Shampoo, Samurai Champloo, Bleach, of course, naturally.
Oh, dude, I used to binge watch the hell out of Samurai Champloo. This was all my jam here, man. Trigun was my jam, bro. Inuyasha, bro. Big O. Horeka 7, Yu Yu Hakusho. Just late last year, December, they did a live-action Netflix version of that. Fully Cooley, Big O. Shin-chan, yo. Me and her brother definitely had good taste in anime and Adult Swim.
God, man. That was a different time.
Your brother's a cool-ass guy, man.
Bro.
Mainstream. I want to bring that up once again. I really think Adult Swim was a big part of that. It turned TV into an art form that commented on TV itself, which no one was doing back then. It's a place where a show like Robot Chicken that was rejected by Mad TV, Saturday Night Live, and Comedy Central could end up winning how many Emmys? Two Emmy Awards.
Robot Chicken also influenced, so there's a guy that makes stop motion animation in the vein of Robot Chicken, but with VTubers. Dude, I love that guy.
What? Oh, I'm gonna have to see these channels, social media platform he has.
If I get a figurine done, I'd want to get him to like commission. I want to commission them to like do a stop motion to do something funny. Who I don't know his name. He's really funny though. It was Moonshine. Yes, correct. Thank you. Yeah, the one who did Peppa stuff and Kirsha stuff. Yeah. Fucking chat!
Importantly, to me, Adult Swim is a channel that's willing to take risks on creators who came from the internet, and no one else is able to do that. No other channel is doing that. I was raised on YouTube and Newgrounds, and watching people that I've been watching since I was a wee little tot get full shows on Adult Swim makes me want to cry. It makes me so happy. If you started on the internet, the industry as a whole probably looks down upon you and doesn't think you're a real artist. Then Adult Swim said, let's take a shot on it, and now we have Rick and Morty, we have Smiling Friends, we have Haha You Clowns, we have Crystal Fantasy, literally all the shit Jack Stauber is doing. Like, it's really important.
I never heard of Crystal Fantasy, but I heard those other. I only heard about it, I think, a year or two ago. I couldn't get into that, man. I saw like 2 episodes of this other VTuber. I might as well give her a plug in. I think her name's Alicia Likes Life, Alicia Has Death. I know she reacted to a few of them. And then another one, Aria Booker. I know she reacted to Smiling From one time too. I didn't even know what that was, so I think it was like 2018, 19, or early 2020. I couldn't get into it, man. If I was still maybe in high school, I would have been a Gen Zer. I probably could have gotten into it, but once again, it wasn't my cup of tea. But hey, 1 or 2 parts were a little funny, and that was it.
What Adult Swim is doing. Streaming has completely disrupted the entertainment industry, but Adult Swim is something that could not be put into a simple box.
Oh yeah, Newgrounds. Yeah, I completely forgot. Moongrounds was definitely a thing that spawned from this.
Now entering its 3rd decade on television, Adult Swim is probably the most popular it ever has been, and I think I know why. Despite what everyone thinks in this industry, good art is good art. And even though it's not advertiser friendly, if you build it, they will come. And then when you have the people there, you can sell them a Trump coin at 3 a.m. or whatever the hell they run ads for on that channel. New videos every Saturday, maybe one on Wednesday.
You don't remember Newgrounds? Shut up, bitch. I was there when they had mini clips and Newgrounds and flash animations and freaking Newgrounds 18 plus where they had boobies and shit. I was there. Shut up. Do not speak to me, witch.
There's a lot in this video I wasn't able to touch on.
She was there with that. Okay, cool. So I was raised on Newgrounds too. That was like a 2001, 2003 website. I didn't start using it until like 2003 though. I had my first like family computer. I had to be careful which videos I was watching back then too. Because my old man, he would have got the belt and beat the crap out of me for a little bit. That would have happened, seen like hentai, doji and shit back then. It's wild.
I wanted to go into the bumpers, but like there's only so much I can say without just reading the bumpers. They're hilarious. You should look them up. Also, the art style. I don't know much about art styles, but the whole vibe of Adult Swim is fantastic. But regardless, maybe I'll talk about it later. Maybe someone else will talk about it for me. Thank you guys so much. Have a good weekend.
That was so strong, man. Yay! Thank you, Big Tugg! Thank you. Clappies. That was awesome. Yeah. Spamming a little bit more. Fucking check him out. Big Tugg is cool, man. He's cool. I like his stuff. Gets that noggin jogging, you know? Check him out, chat. He's a cool content creator. How nostalgic. I love Big Tugg. He can Big Tugg me. Okay.
Oh my god. Now she's gonna have a little singing song outro. That's not that many thoughts, views, and opinions I'm gonna have on this, but man, it's about to be 1 hour long. So if you made it to the end of this video, thank you very much. Appreciate the hell out of you. You guys are amazing, awesome. And dude, I forgot about those eras too, like Tiny Chat URL, Angel Fire, like so many of those old Flash game places. They're gone. There's only a few of them in the internet archives that still exist. Like the pictures and the old videos and the really super old commercial ads they had back then, bro. Fun times. Fun ass time. And you know, if I remember to leave all the links to the channels I talked about, if I remember to put in the description box down below, I'll be happy to oblige. Dude, he should have talked about the other thing. He missed out on that. I wish he didn't, man. The revival of it when they brought the darker version of Samurai Jack there and the remake remaster of Powerpuff Girls. I'm surprised he didn't bring those up. That would have been cool. Just saying, just putting it out there. And I think Naruto Shippuden, and then they brought a lot more darker, crazier anime. I think it was 2012, 2013 when Ace did like Dead Man Wonderland, Casher and Sins, and Death Note. They brought all that shit to Nami stuff too. I remember that way back in the early mid-2010s. Stop. That's all I gotta say for now. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen, bros and family friends. I got time for the morning. See you when I see you. Have a good day, have a night, whatever. And the world, universe, I no drinks more at the same time. Don't be reckless. These are your college channel, bit of video game industry, that my news, virtual drama news, virtual VTuber news, sports key to Dexterdo, YouTuber drama news, and of course, as always, sometimes science news, Elon Musk news once in a while. And of course, some reaction videos like this one, movies, video games, anime girls, YouTuber checks, and movie trailer reviews, movie trailer reactions, of course, movie clip reactions, teasers, and very strict, super stern commentary. So too. Peace out. I'm SoundCloud, like and bye. See you on the flip side. Take it easy, stay safe and gone. I'm taking in the big pharma stuff like the jabs. I'm taking in the CRISPR or phaser. I'm taking in the hydrogel or scary shit in your arm. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good one. I'm out. Goodbye. See you in the next commentary video.